Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. To follow us on Instagram, go to No Name Music Cast Podcast. To send us an email, it's nonamemusiccast@gmail.com. And to visit our website, go to nonamemusiccast.com. Now, on with the show. Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to No Name Music Cast. My name's Tim, and this is
Joy.
And here at the very top of the show, I just sent Joy a link. Now, I'm going to put the link in the show notes so you can enjoy this too. I have discovered this week this rock if you like, duo, called Angine de Poitrine. They're French, well, French Canadians.
I think they're Quebecois, so they're French Canadian.
Yeah. And they are playing what could be best described as experimental math rock with microtonal instruments. So I sent Joy a clip of them playing it's like a French Tiny Desk concert kind of thing. There's a whole long concert. Yeah. Well, I just sent her one song. So what did you think, Joy?
First of all, I thought it was super cool. I instantly said, oh, it's French, because that's the second language I speak. And then I was like, oh, this is Quebecois French, which is a different form of French for those who don't know. If you're from Quebec, whatever you say. If you're American, you're French, whatever, it doesn't matter. So I thought that was cool because I was a bit. I will say I have tripod phobia, and there's a lot of polka dots happening, which stressed me out. And then I was like, I wonder if the person who's playing the bass and the guitar, which Tim could probably give you a little bit more. It is a bass and guitar, right? They're playing both?
Yeah, it's a double-necked instrument with a bass and guitar.
Okay.
And the person who's playing it, or should I say the character that's playing it, has got a bunch of loopers. So you play a phrase, you hit it, and then it repeats, basically.
That's what I was catching on to. And then, because even though I listened to about 2 minutes, I started skipping ahead. I don't know if you called me, Tim. I was skipping ahead to hear. I wanted to hear what was coming next, just so I had an idea. And I thought it was interesting. I was like, oh, what if it's not a female and they just have hair on it to make you think it's a female? Those were female feet, though. Those were definitely female feet. So the person playing the bass and the guitar is a female. I didn't look too much into the drummer so much, though I will say the nose is suspiciously suspicious because this is a PG podcast and I'm not going to say anymore. If you know, you know, right? Or if you knows, you knows. No one. I thought it was super cool. It really reminds me of one of my favorite bands that I've ever seen locally was kind of like a local funk band, and they never let the song stop. Have you ever seen a band that does that, Tim? Mm-hmm. And they have these really fun interlude funk kind of moments, and that's what I got. But I would totally enjoy this. Now, I will say, I don't think I could sit through a whole concert of it, but just for the aesthetics, and it's fun. It feels very whimsical, kind of like somebody's and what's funny is one person, the top rated comment on is, after many years of searching, I finally found my funeral music, which I thought was superb. I love it. I actually really enjoyed this. I will say polka dots are rough for me because I do have really bad tripod phobia, and I was okay with it until she started moving her feet, and then I felt uncomfortable.
Yeah, so to describe it, there's two characters.
I did not describe it at all.
Yeah, one of which is like a large triangular headdress type thing, mm-hmm. and sort of looks female with long hair, with dollar marks in front of the eyes.
Those were female feet. I know they were.
And a huge long nose. The other one has like some kind of tall hat affair with a long nose that looks like one of those monkeys that has a long
triangle
nose.
On his little head.
Oh, yeah, the triangle is the thing because they don't speak to the audience. All they do is they show a triangle. And then people in response show a triangle too. Now,
I will, Tim, before you go on, I thought it was interesting. He has like a tiny little triangle, the drummer does, assuming it's a he. It could be two females. You can't really tell from the drummers. You know what I mean? You don't get any indications if the drummer is a male or female. Yeah. But the little triangle, and it's like a pyramid triangle, for lack of a better way of saying it, is on his head. But then the other guy has an opposite, or other female. And I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know why, but that stood out to me as I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool. Very distinctly different. And then the white triangle that's upside down is the color of the clothes of the drummer, and then the one with the long head, like with the tiny triangle, is the colors of the clothes of the guitarist. Like it created a very interesting aesthetic back and forth. All right, continue. Sorry.
Yeah. So looking at their website, it says Angine de Poitrine. It says disciples of planet Earth's rock deities, space-time voyagers Clec and Kun de Poitrine gaze in wonder at hot dogs, pyramids, and rock music in all its glorious excess.
So what is a pyramid?
Yeah, channeling the spirit of Earth's greatest rock stars, time-traveling duo Angine de Poitrine are endlessly fascinated by hot dogs, pyramids, and the sheer grandeur of rock and roll.
What side of YouTube got you here, Tim?
And there's a lot of guitar stuff that I look at on the internet.
Oh, is that what it is?
And I kept seeing this image of them two, and I didn't know what it was. And then the other day, I was on Guitar World or something, and there was a link to one of these videos. And I pulled it up, and I'm just utterly fascinated by this. It's the theater and spectacle of it is amazing. The musicianship is superb, and they're playing microtonal instruments. And what that means, in a Western scale, like it's a semitone between each note, like between the black and the white keys on the piano or the frets on a guitar. A lot of like Eastern music is microtonal, so there's intervals between those frets or notes. And the person the being that's playing the guitar and bass, if you notice the frets they've got tiny little ones between all the way down the neck. So it means that's why it sounds wacky, because it's microtonal.
And that was what I was going to get at, though, is the beginning sounds very funky, like what you hear in those funk riffs. But then there was a point where they started adding extra stuff, and I'm like, that sounds almost, to my brain, I almost thought it sounded like off key, and for lack of a better way of explaining it, Tim, but it still sounded cool. Do you know what I mean? Like I could tell something about it was off. I just didn't know how to verbalize it. And I was like, that's interesting. Because it's like, in some way, weirdly enough, that the guitar riff at the beginning and like the kind of back and forth reminded me of like a Jet song. I don't know which Jets. Do you know what I'm talking about? I hope that makes sense. Like, but then when they hit like I guess what their chorus or whatever you want to call it, the next verse, whatever it was, there was like Tim's right. It almost sounds like if you didn't know what you were listening to, it sounded off key, but like in a good way. If that makes any sense to anyone listening, probably doesn't. I hope it makes sense to you, Tim.
Yeah, because to Western ears, you expect to hear regular intervals, but this is microtonal, so that's why it sounds off. But also, it's in tune. Though.
What were you saying? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I said it wasn't bad, though. I kind of liked it.
Yeah, it does grow in you. I've been listening to a lot of this recently and watching these videos, and I'm utterly fascinated with it. And if you look on their website, they're touring all the time. It's really blown up. They did this Tiny Desk style concert on French Canadian radio, and it has 14 million views on YouTube. I mean, it's only a matter of time until they do an NPR Tiny Desk concert. They are blowing up.
I love that.
The other thing is that the two characters are completely anonymous. Nobody knows who they are unless you do a little bit of Google searching like I did
How
today.
How Daft Punk of you. Are they both female? I just want to know they're both female.
No, they're both dudes.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Damn it, those feet looked female. I was very hopeful it was two females.
I mean, the one playing guitar and bass has got very dainty feet. I will say
it really did. It looked very feminine. I'm gonna have to go down the Goog machine because I was like, how very Daft Punk of them to hide their faces.
Yeah,
to make a reference.
It says on the website, Angine de Poitrine is an anonymous artistic project. Any speculation regarding the identities of its members is unverified and not endorsed by the band. And there's an interview with them on Canadian TV.
I thought the hair, though, was I thought they were trying to trick us, so I was probably right.
Yeah, the interview on Canadian TV, they only speak in blips and blops, and then there's subtitles at the bottom. They're so committing to this bit. It is absolutely fantastic.
So very French of them. All of this, if you look at this is the most, like, I know they're Canadian French, but it's still it feels very French, Jim. All of it does. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, probably musically, it sounds like a cross between Primus and Buckethead, if you know what either of those two sound like.
Absolutely, yes, it does. And the Buckethead thing is kind of funny. I was like, literally, though, when the one video you said, it really did at the very beginning. God, what Jet song is it that, like, there was like a Jet song it distinctly reminded me of, but it wasn't quite. I'm going to have to go down the Google machine.
Oh, You're Gonna Be My Girl.
Is that yes? Okay, thank you, Tim. I wasn't crazy. It really did sound like that, right? Not 100%, but it was on the money. And you might be able to explain that guitar-ish. I don't know. How do you speak guitar, Tim? Is
It's
there a word for it?
I speak guitar.
How do you explain the guitar things to people? Is there a term for
Well, it's a
it?
looper. They're playing through a looper, which is like a machine that repeats back to
But
what you've
what was the
played.
chord progression that you think that sounded? I'm trying to figure out why it made me think of that song from Jet.
Because it's on the beat. Bum, 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 bum,
Is
bum,
that all it
bum.
was?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like that.
Well, that's how you speak guitars. You just did it, Tim. You see how when you make the music with your, we're gonna put that. Is it good? I want that to go into the next Merriam-Webster's text dictionary. How do you speak guitarish?
Guitarish.
This is a podcast for the brilliant minds of the world, Tim. This is if you're smart, you listen to this podcast, right?
Absolutely. Our listeners are the best listeners and the smartest listeners.
Mostly probably judging the things that come out of my mouth. All right, Tim. Well, did you have any other music news? Anything else you'd like to share with the people at the beginning?
No, this has been big news this week. This has taken up a lot of my listening time this week, discovering Angine de Poitrine. So,
I love it.
so I'll hand it over to you for music news and then hand it back to me for the topic.
I only have one little thing that is kind of a blip in the system, but it was new, so I just thought it was fun. So, if you're into the zombies, apparently they have released a new remastered version of Begin Here, which, if you know anything about them, that's their most famous album. They only had a very small. I like the zombies, but let's be honest, Tim. Catalog. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Catalog is not that huge. Yeah, brilliant minds on this podcast. This is one of the main ones. So basically, if you haven't heard all their tracks, this is a great way. The Zombie Sync team has literally they've been working on this since 2014, I guess. And didn't we recently talk about the zombies were performing and they sound a little rough right now. They really do. But anyway, so with that being said, they are remastering it. They're putting it on vinyl, Tim's favorite way to put out music. I imagine it will make it to CD here again. They're doing that kind of where they're reworking everything. I imagine 4K. Is 4K the term you use when it comes to audio?
No, I mean, it would just be high resolution. 4K
4K is pixely visual, right?
4K is the amount of pixels.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out what's the audio equivalent of 4K though.
Well, it just be a high definition file, a lossless file, maybe.
Okay, well, I overthought that. So with that being said, whatever the audio version of 4K is what they're re-releasing it in. And, it's going to be She's Not There, Tell Her No, It's All Right, The Way I Feel Inside. And they're reworking it. They said there are going to be 17 tracks from the Zombies 1965 debut album, all remastered in an original mono mix. I guess mono mix is what I should have went with. This has been overseen by Matthew and Jamie White, the sons of the founding member, Chris White, and mastered by Ruben Colin. I don't know what that is. At Larissa, that's not in English. Mastering, Lurssen. Tim, you're better at language than I am. Something Lurssen mastering is the guy behind this.
It's just a person who does mastering.
Okay, well, that's not an English word, and I'm American, and we don't know other people, apparently. Brand new liner notes by legendary David Frickel. The album will be housed on a single pocket jacket. Do they physically mean like the jacket and the vinyl, Tim?
Yeah, the sleeve would just have a single pocket.
I've literally never seen that written out before. With polyline sleeves and an insert. So there you go. If you're interested in it, I just thought it was cool. I love the zombies. I probably actually will buy this and bring it back because it's one of my. She's Not There is one of my all-time favorite things. I would love to hear a mono remastered. I think it would be cool. Unfortunately, Tim and me have talked about recently. They have performed. You have to remember. They have to be old, Tim.
Yeah,
I don't know how old they are, but they're old.
Old fellas, but they're still getting it done.
I love it. So with that being said, I thought I would share that with you if you'd like to buy it. It's available. Apparently, they've been working on it since 2014. So give them your money, and I don't think you will be sad. Also, She's Not There, Tim. Still one of my all-time favorite songs. And Time of the Season. I know Time of the Season's a little cliche, but She's Not There, I think, is a fantastic song.
There is some good music there, Joy, let me tell you.
All right. Well, take it away, Tim.
Okay, so this week is my topic, and we often talk about physical media on this particular podcast.
Speaking of me talking about vinyl.
Yeah, and in fact, as I said, everybody knows CD is my favorite format of all time. In fact, I have a CD here,
He does.
which I'm going to talk about on the next episode. But I thought I would have a look just to see what were the best-selling vinyl albums of 2025. So
That's
I've got
so
the list.
ironic. I didn't know that when I did this. It's my music.
There we
News,
are.
Tim.
So
There we
I've
go.
got the entire list here. It's a list of like 40 titles. We obviously won't get to all of them. We're going to go from number one down.
Okay.
And there's going to be some of these artists I've never heard of, and I'm sure some of them you've never even heard of. So we will skip through and we'll see what happens. The interesting thing at a glance, looking at this list, how many classic albums are on here? So yes, there are quote unquote new artists, but a good chunk of this list is made out of classic artists and classic albums.
I think that one big factor in that is the fact that if you're buying vinyl, like it does air to a classic kind of aura to begin with, right, Tim? What's the point of buying vinyl from 2026? Like if I'm buying vinyl, and I don't buy a whole lot of vinyl, honestly, I did really good. I got like all the Scorpions by AC/DC vinyl, like all the ones that from the 80s, Tim. I got them on Facebook Marketplace one day for somebody who didn't know what they were giving away. Like
There we
I
are.
truly did. I think I sent you do you remember that, Tim? I laid them all out and sent you pictures
Yeah.
of them. And like some lady she probably now, if she had waited, Tim, she could have got like $400 from that stuff. I think I spent $20 for them. Sorry, lady. But my point is like, but if you're doing vinyl, shouldn't there be some air of nostalgia in it to begin with?
Yeah, but for me, I'm not nostalgic for it. I'm nostalgic for CDs because that's what I grew up with.
I think so, but I think that the concept is very. I know this sounds very weird because I think that it is misconstrued, but if you're into vinyl, it's like, yeah, you're edgy, you're cool, but there's also some nostalgia orient era to it. I don't know. And the thing about it is for me and you, we kind of find it silly because it's kind of like an 8-track or a vinyl. It's like the world's worst version. I mean, unless you talk about hit clips, which I still think are the best, but that's the world's worst version. The reason we improved it, right, Tim, and moved from the CD or moved from that to tape and then moved to CD was because it's not a great way to bring people media. It isn't.
No, the problem with the vinyl record is you can only actually get 18 minutes of music on each side, and if you get more than that, you have to make the groove smaller, which makes the record quieter and it reduces the bass. And then there's something called inner groove distortion. So they normally would put the quietest track at the very end of the record because there's less grooves to play with. So that's how they used to master them like that. And the quality of the music when you get into the inner grooves, it's terrible. It's a heavy, big format. The records warp. It's prone to scratching.
Also, the last few albums I bought, like I've had bad luck. Like they were literally just like warped. My Guardians of the Galaxy, I had to replace it twice. Like it was just warped. It came in bad. It doesn't ship well. It just doesn't.
It's poor. I mean, The Future came out in 1982.
I thought you were going to say 99. Wait, I want to know when Hit Clips came out, and I hope that our staff. I hope that our people who listen to us, when did it came out? When did Hit Clips come out? I want to know the official year of when the best form of media.
Hit Clips was, if I had to guess, 94, 95.
Right. When did Hit Clips come out? Somebody else has Googled this before me. 99.
Oh, later.
By Tiger Electronics. What was the first Hit Clips?
Probably Britney Spears.
Probably. Or it could be Backstreet Boys.
Did it say?
I'm Googling it. Damn, Tim, we were so close. It was Britney Spears and NSYNC.
Ah.
You're right. I said Backstreet Boys. Why did I go with NSYNC? Basically the same thing. And they were distributed through McDonald's on, guess, our favorite Jive Records, which, you know, had everybody back in the day.
Absolutely.
And then the final, I wasn't wrong. Guess who came next? Backstreet Boys, Sugar Ray, and Destiny's Child.
Classic.
Guess who had all of them? Joy. All right. I should do a Hit Clips episode. Let's move along. That's not what this one's about.
Okay, so looking at the list, the best-selling vinyl albums of 2025. Coming in at number one would be Taylor Swift and the album Life of a Showgirl. Now, I'm assuming that was her most recent release.
Weirdly enough, yes, but I do think she just put some other I don't know. There's something happening in the Taylor Swift. Like she's got some. I don't think she has an album out, but she's got some more what's the word? What is your premiere track on your album, Tim, that you put out?
Like a single.
Yeah, I think she just put out some more singles. Now, Life of the Showgirl is interesting because I will say I am not a lover or a hater of Taylor Swift. I'm very kind of benign, to be honest with you, Tim. Mm-hmm. But there's this one song on there. It's called Ophelia. And I don't know if you went down the rabbit hole of listening to, you would actually really appreciate this. And this song lives, it's the biggest earworm ever. And a lot of people talk about it's because it's Life of a Showgirl. There's a lot more. When I hear Taylor, I unfortunately I'm very much the person that I don't like when my music all sounds the same over and over again. Yeah. And for me, a lot of Taylor Swift music, I'm sorry, don't cancel this. I'm not saying it's not for you, but for me personally, I'm not a huge fan of it. And so that is where I get a little weirded out and I just can't do it. But there's one track on there. It's called Ophelia. And it's like, and see, and stuff. It's very pop. It almost sounds like a Swedish pop song, for lack of a better way of saying it. And there's like a dance that goes to it. And it has like the greatest, I'm sorry, as a person who's never really sought out Taylor, that track is so good. I kind of want to send it to Tim after we leave this episode. And by leave, I mean after we stop recording, because like, what do I mean by that statement? And let him listen to it, because I actually think you would really appreciate it. It's very much more poppy than a lot of her stuff, and it's fun and it's great, and it really did give a great example of how her stratosphere and how good she is. Because to be honest with you guys, I've said very actively at this podcast, I don't seek out her music. I don't hate her. I don't really have a thought about her either way. I just do not seek out her music. Now, my best friend, as Tim will tell you, is a hardcore Taylor Swift aficionado. And we usually, me and Molly, my BFF, we agree on almost everything. We agree on music. We're both ukulele players. We've literally sat together. Tim would love to see us play the ukulele. I think it would crack him up. But we both are like, we're very similar in that, but that she is much more dedicated to the Taylor Swift life than I have ever been.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm not a Taylor Swift hater at all. But I will tell you, if I'm being completely honest, and don't be offended, Swifties, but I've heard a bunch of Taylor Swift music, and to me, it just sounds like mediocre pop. And I mean, if you love Taylor Swift, I'm not taking that away from you, obviously, but that's just my take on it.
Well, on the flip side, I've said this many times before, and, we are not a podcast that strays away from this. What if you just like mediocre pop? Like, I don't understand
that's why... Fine, but nothing about it goes, I go, oh, wow, this is great.
That's how I feel about bands like we talked about the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like, I just generally nothing about it ever makes me seek it out, right? Tim, does that make sense? And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but controversially, I really do think that, like, if you like pop, just like it. I really don't care. And I think Tim's the same. When you like what you like and you can't change it. That's our favorite quote on this podcast, right? Sure. And so for me, but I will say that one song, Ophelia, I would love to send it to you, Tim. Now that you know it is like one of the highest grossing, and I think you will actually, controversially, we'll check back because he didn't care for my Lady Gaga episode, which I thought was going to change it, but didn't change it. I actually do think you'll like this song. It is, if I were going to put any song on a playlist that is Taylor Swift, it would be Ophelia. And actually, this weekend Tim saw, I was at, we talked about in the last episode, I was in Roanoke. What's the thing that I was at? What's the park called there, Tim?
Elmwood Park.
I was at Elmwood Park, and it was Pride Weekend. And so we had a lot of drag queens and stuff, and one of the drag queens did a whole thing to Ophelia, and it was fantastic. It was so good. It was just like very Life of a Showgirl. I mean, what's a drag queen going to do? It was perfect. I actually, controversially, I'm going to send it to him after we leave here because I know he does not know this song. He's never heard it a day in his life because Tim lives under a rock.
Of course.
My twin sister has actively said that she is amazed by Tim's ability to not know anything in the modern society. And she's an active listener, and I get messages from her every week judging me and Tim on our statements on this podcast. But I will say, I understand why it was. I mean, it's Taylor Swift. She's obviously the most popular artist in the world right now. But controversially, my favorite song that's ever came from her came from this album.
There we go. Fantastic.
There you go.
Right.
I said what I said. All right, give us the next one, Tim.
So the next one is someone I've never heard of. I'll be interested to know, have you heard of this person? Sam Fender and the album People Watching.
Sounds like a guy I went to school with again. Sam Fender?
I mean, does he play Fender guitars? I mean, what's going on?
Oh, he looks like he's an English songwriter and singer. He's from Northern Shields, Tim. What is that?
Somewhere up north past Watford.
I thought you knew every city that's ever in England.
I have no idea.
I just heard something go boom downstairs. I'm going to have to make sure Charlie didn't fall out while we're recording this podcast. But anyway, it says it's 8 miles from Newcastle.
Yeah, so it's in the north. It's past Watford.
Tim says that like that means words to me, but all right. With that being said, apparently that's all I know about him, Tim. He's British. I got nothing else.
Yeah, I have nothing else. So let's move on to the one in third place. So again, third place. This is the first of the classic albums, and I think it's very obvious that this artist would be in this list because they had a little bit of a resurgence with their tour. This is Oasis and What's the Story? Morning Glory.
So the funny part about this is, first of all, we're talking about bands that don't ever speak to me. Oasis is one of them. So, the obvious. But so I have hired a few Gen Z. Oh, apparently the loud boom, if it was concerned, that Charlie didn't die, but our neighbor has an RC car that just ran into something in my yard.
Okay,
anyway,
well, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to the podcast. Rest easy with that knowledge.
Anyway, so back to I hit the wall of my house, Tim. That's what I heard. All right, that's not related. So back to what we were saying. I've hired some Gen Z staff, and they have recently, apparently, all gotten into Oasis, which I find humorous. I always wonder what they know about Oasis. You know what I mean, Tim, the lore. But you can't really be that boss who, no, I don't really have the time. And Tim can tell you as a boss, you don't have the time to sit there and talk to him about Oasis some days, right? Yeah. But I just thought it was funny that they were talking about them the other day. And it's funny because, Tim, I had made the comment about the podcast. I've not really given people the name of the podcast because it's weird when you work for people, you don't want to talk about your podcast, right?
Sure.
But I made the comment that I said I'm pretty good at music and people and stuff. So now they have taken it upon themselves to find music that I don't know and ask me if I know this band. I don't know if that's happened to you before, Tim. People will be like, "Do you know this one?" And then my one of my members of my staff got a tattoo for a band recently. It's called Pierce the Veil, which, by the way, I grew up in 2000 Fuse, so I know what Pierce the Veil is. And so when I told her that, she was like, I blew her mind. But it's just funny because she was literally sitting there talking about, I just got into Oasis, and I was like, ah. I wanted to but I was also like, yay, good for you. But I'm also like, yikes. So it's not surprising me, Tim, they've made a resurgence because my literal Gen Z staff, I have 2 Gen Z members. One is much more quiet than the other one. So I don't really hear much out of Charlie. She comes, she does her work and leaves. The other one, though, has a lot to say. And she takes pride in trying to find musicians I don't know.
There we are. Well, I will tell you, I was there at the time when Oasis came out. I thought it was mediocre to poor at the time. My opinion probably hasn't changed, though I will tell you Champagne Supernova is a really, really good song.
I don't know. All their music is music if it comes on the radio or whatever, Tim, you're listening to, the Spotify's or whatever. Yeah, I'd probably let it play. But once again, what you were saying about seeking out things, or I think I was saying it, we've talked about, I don't seek it out ever. It's just fine. It's there.
Yeah, and Noel Gallagher has got the worst guitar tone for someone who uses Gibson guitars and Marshall amplifiers. I don't know how you can get a guitar sound as bad as that using that equipment. But anyhow, that's a very specific guitar thing.
Is that you talking guitarisms or something? What was it I said earlier?
Guitarism.
Guitaries. I want that to become. If that ever gets in the nomenclature of the world, it'll be because of me. One day there's going to be like a Webster. What's the dictionary?
Webster's dictionary.
I'm not getting there. I can't even say their name. But if for some reason I end up in there. And it just says guitarisms. I wanted to be like Joy, No Name Music House out beside it. And then there's like a picture of Tim holding a guitar. I don't know what it is also. I'm gonna say something controversial. And come for me, internet, it's fine. What is it in British music sometimes that it feels like all of it is very like the people there and the spirit is very negative. I get like very negative vibes. And this is a band that I feel that from. They always feel like they're mad about something or upset about something. Like, I don't know. Liam and Noel just feel mad at the world all the time. And I know the bed thing 20 plus years ago or whatever it was, but still.
It's just British culture is built to knock you down rather than to build you up. I think that's what it boils down to.
What a great quote, Tim. Well, that was a beautiful way of saying it. Do you think that American culture is the complete opposite and we build up more people than we should? Who should probably be knocked down a few pegs?
I think generally US culture tries to build you up and make you better. US culture tries to knock you down.
Well, and that is, though, I do say from a U.S. perspective, is there are some people we could knock down a few pegs.
Sure,
they probably
of course.
should be. There's some good and bads in both of them. But do you really think that's why it's different? Because for me, I feel like I really do feel like this, and I've thought about it a lot. We talked about artists, we make the jokes about Morrissey. He's a whole different ballgame. But a lot of artists from the UK, I feel like I get these like very negative kind of perspectives from them, and I've always wondered, am I just being judgy? Whereas, like you just said, it's a very different culture in that sense. So that was a beautiful way of saying it, Tam. You just kind of identify something I didn't even know existed.
There we are, Joe, all through the gift of this list of vinyl records.
Also, we talked about two and nothing related to the actual vinyl. All right, what's next?
Okay, so coming in at number 4 is another Taylor Swift album, Lover, Live from Paris. I'm not going to spend any time on that because we covered
I don't
Taylor.
know anything about it anyway.
Yeah,
so
we covered Taylor
on.
in depth earlier. So coming in at number 5 is Sabrina Carpenter and Man's Best Friend.
Okay, well, controversially, I have been on a Sabrina Carpenter. So Tim has unwillingly been thrust into Sabrina Carpenter's. So the funny thing is, Sabrina Carpenter, so if you don't know anything about her, she actually kind of started out as an actress, I think. So, Boy Meets World used to be, well, I don't know if you know this, Tim. Do you know what Boy Meets World is, the TV show?
No.
I say that like you know. So let's give some background to this. This is going to be long-winded. When I was in high school or when I was under 18, whatever you want to call it, there was ABC Family would do like these Saturday night, like a Friday night, I think it was Saturday night, like TV shows, right? And they would have like a list of TV shows. It'd be like Sabrina the Teenage Witch and Boy Meets World and a few other shows, right? And they, ABC and Disney had that like thing back in the day. I don't know if they're still together in that way. I don't know. But back in the day, you had ABC Family, you had Disney, and they would do these Saturday night like TV shows that everybody watched. Mm-hmm. And I've told you I like Sabrina the Teenage Witch. They did this show called Boy Meets World. And it's not as you don't really get to it. Just think your classic like teenage romance TV show, all the kids going through all the things. Well, the early 2000s, they redid it and it was called Girl Meets World. And it was like a revamping where they took some of the members of the show and they did a Disney spinoff. I don't know, it amounted to anything. Didn't watch it, don't really care. Point of the matter is, Sabrina was on this. Not Sabrina. Yeah, Sabrina Carpenter was on this show. Now, controversially, I have no idea if she was a good actor. Can't tell you a thing. She is, and we've joked about this on the podcast, she is pop music 101. She is playing into that. But she really has kind of done some of the risque stuff that Madonna used to do, mm-hmm. and kind of pushing the envelope. And she has a really, really good voice. Like her, hate her, care about pop music, it doesn't matter. Kind of like we talk about, Hannah Montana, aka Miley Cyrus, has a really good voice. She
Hmm.
does. And she is speaking to a lot of people right now and really hitting that like pop music that we haven't had. We had a lot of rock and we had a lot of rap, but there wasn't anybody doing that like pop music metal piece. And that's where I think she's coming in hard, Tim. I think she's kind of meeting that. And we talked last week about her doing the stuff with Madonna, which we don't need to go into if you want to go back and listen to the episode. But then she also did an episode with Earth, Wind, and Fire. And then I also sent Tim a few things where she performed with Shania when she was in Texas and different things like that. But for whatever reason, and she also did a whole thing with Christina Aguilera, which is really good. If you know anything about Christina Aguilera, she can sing the phone book. Like her voice is, whether you like her or not, she's such a great singer. Sabrina has the best pop music tone I've heard in years. I don't know if that makes sense to you, Tim, but the tone of her voice and the timbre of her voice is pop music 101.
Now, is Sabrina Carpenter the person who did that probably terrible cover of Betty Davis Eyes? Is that Sabrina
No,
Carpenter?
no,
Or am I thinking
no.
of somebody
That was
else?
JoJo Siwa. Don't ever. No, no, no. God,
I
no.
can't remember
God,
who that was.
absolutely not. Sabrina would never. I don't think she's perfect. I think she's controversial. But what I do find interesting is she is pushing the envelope a little bit. And it is interesting she chose to do that with Madonna last week and Like a Prayer, because she controversially did something like in a church where she put out a song and she wore like a Jesus was a Carpenter t-shirt because her name is Sabrina Carpenter. Like she's kind of pushing the envelope a little. But as much as I don't always like all of her music, so when Ian was on the episode, Ian Husbands, for those who remember, we joked about, Charlie said that if AI was a song, it was that expressive song. That was her.
Okay.
That's her song. And what's funny about that is because it's really good. Like if you put pop music, like if you ask any Swedish person, because I know they're pop music, they would say this is good pop music. But the thing about it is it's the tone of her voice, Tim. Does that make sense to you? You know, like one of the keys to being a good pop music, have that tone. That
Yeah.
like you can, you don't have to be Aretha Franklin to sing pop music, but if you have that sound, it will sell. And for whatever reason, and she does sing live a lot. I know the one I sent you doesn't, and maybe I need to go back and like let you listen to some of it. But she really has the best sound for pop music I've heard in years.
Okay. Well, that's a glowing endorsement from you, Joy.
And also she plays the piano, the bass, the ukulele, the guitar, and the drums.
Ah, well, there you go.
So anyway, so I just want to say that in and of itself is like huge. But I think she also comes from a musical family and had a lot of money growing up, so like she had people to pay for all these. And you know what I mean, Tim? Sometimes it's hard because you're like, she had all those opportunities. I don't know much about her as a person, but I think I controversially think she came from a musical background.
Okay.
And they set her up for success from a very young age. And I know that that's hard and you can't judge somebody from that, but I do think that that makes a difference when you're set up for success from a very young age. And they're, you know what I mean, teaching you all how to be the pop artist from like 4.
Yeah.
But she does play all those instruments, which I think is pretty cool. And I've heard that she controversially plays them quite well. Also, she named ABBA as her number 1 reference point.
There we go. Well, that's probably because all of her songwriters are from Sweden.
I haven't looked into it, but I'm sure what is his name? Max, whatever his name, Magic Mike over here, whatever it goes by. He's behind it. But controversially, I will say, I think if you were going to look at the best modern day pop artist, I think she does a good job.
Okay, that's good. Well, let's move on to the next one. So, at number 6, this is someone I don't think I've heard of. Olivia Dean and the album Art of Loving.
I only know one of her songs, and sadly, I only know it because it was on a TikTok. I can't tell you anything else about her, Tim. We should probably just move along to the next one. She is English again. Once again, a lot of these artists are English. I don't know anything else.
No idea. Okay, let's move to number 7. So this is a classic album, one that seems to be a perennial seller in the world of vinyl records. This is Fleetwood Mac, and this would be the album Rumors.
So what's so interesting to me about Fleetwood Mac is they're ageless.
Yeah.
And they seem to keep making the rounds every year. I don't know what it is about getting together and breaking up and then wanting to kill each other and then getting back together and all this stuff, but it really does seem to make a great album.
Yeah, I think
Tim didn't even react, but I was just making a joke.
Yeah, no, I think it's true. Rumors in particular just seems to be their magnum opus. People love Rumors, and it's one of those albums that people bought on record when it came out. They bought it on cassette, they bought it on CD, they streamed it, and now they're back into records again, and they've bought it again. It's like, how many copies of it do you need in your life? Many is the answer.
Well, I also think that there's something about, like, we were talking about the nostalgia side of it, and I do think the internet right now has made Fleetwood Mac become that nostalgic kind of band. And, you know, we joked about the guy on the skateboard with the cranberry juice that made it popular again, but he really did. Now, here's a question for you, Tim. If you had to pick one song from Rumors that is your top song, what would you pick?
I mean, there are so many good tracks.
You
on
only
Rumors.
get one, Tim. Pick one.
I don't know. I have to bring the full album up to see.
You're bringing the song list up? Okay.
Just to be on the safe side.
I think I know what my answer is, but I'm going to wait.
It's probably going to be Gold Dust Woman, and I tell you for why. I mean, Don't Stop is a great track. You Make Loving Fun is track. The Chain is great. All that's good stuff. However, Gold Dust Woman, I've performed that recently. We don't perform it anymore because Jennifer, who used to be in the band, has left. But she has such an amazing voice, Jennifer Hunnings, who was in the band Nightwings. And I really enjoyed playing that song with her.
So, controversially, mine will, and you know, I'm a side two person. It will always be The Chain. I don't know what it is about that breakdown, which, by the way, was written by, like, 6 members of the band. I will say I am a McVie. Everything she does is my favorite. Everybody's all bent out of shape about Stevie Nicks, but Chrissy McVie, Don't Stop. I freaking adore. Don't Stop is probably my second favorite, right? I will controversially say, and don't come for me, Internet, I prefer Chrissy McVie over Stevie Nicks. I said what I said.
But wouldn't you agree? If you look at the two of them on stage together, and I know we recently lost Christine McVie, but look like a classic concert of them performing together. Stevie Nicks looks like a rock star, moves like a rock star.
Absolutely.
She exudes everything about rock and roll.
And that's why she is the front person. If you're at a concert, you want Stevie Nicks, but if I'm on just listen to the CD, I like Christine McVie.
Yeah, but Christine McVie looks like your friend's well-off mother.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I know that's true. If I'm in concert, I want Stevie Nicks and full Stevie Nicks, like, because it's part of a concert is visual, right, Tim? You perform at concerts, you know this just as well as I do. But if I'm just on record listening to it with my ears, I don't know how else you'd listen to it with your nose. I don't know why I said it like that.
Well, if you was in the Angine de Poitrine, you would maybe listen through that long nose.
It's true. I do, but for whatever reason, the songs I like the best typically have McVie on them. I just said what I said. But The Chain, that breakdown. And when I want to, like, when I've gotten a new stereo system and I want to see if it's got a good bass and a good sub, guess what song I play every time, Tim? It's always The Chain.
You're going to put The Chain on there.
It's like I don't know what it is. Do you not agree that that's like a great way to test your sound? I don't know what it is about that. And I don't know who, everybody's credited as writing The Chain. I don't know who wrote that, like, that bass line there, but my God, that
it would be John McVie. I mean, they probably had shared a group songwriting credit because it was easier from a creative standpoint, just to say everybody wrote everything.
It has to be him, though, right?
Yeah, of course it would.
And that's like the only song he's ever really been credited for. But that it just, if you want to, this is my word of advice to No Name Music. If you ever get a new sound system and you want to hear how good your bass line is, Tim can give you probably better, but I will say mine will always be The Chain. That's what I put on to test it.
Yeah, and plus it was. I mean, what you're listening to now is a digital file, but it was analog recording. It's got great dynamics. It's a good
choice.
It's a very good choice.
That's always what it is. And now after we leave this podcast, I need to go listen to The Chain. I feel like I have to listen to it like once every 3 months to like reset my life. Really.
There we are.
Is that a weird statement? Also, Don't Stop is a great song too.
Yeah, Don't Stop is a great song.
Controversially, I could never hear Dreams. Never going back again, though. I don't think it's enough credit either. Okay, well, we could be all week. Moral Stories, it's a great album. I understand why it's back on, and I know why kids love it now.
There we are. Okay.
Get to the next one.
Let's move to the next one. So the next one is no one I have ever heard of. This is an act called Fontaine's DC, and the album is called Romance. Does this ring a bell for you?
You're speaking English.
We will
no,
move,
no,
we
it
will
does
move
not.
to the
Move
next
along.
one. Nobody knows who that is. Okay, number 9.
We're going to get 3 messages next week about how we should have all known.
So number 9 is Sabrina Carpenter with the album Short and Sweet. We've already covered her. And at number 10, you have Oasis and Definitely Maybe. Again, one that we've already covered, so we won't spend any time there.
What's with the Oasis love? Okay, continue.
Okay. At number 11, another classic album, Radiohead and the album OK Computer.
So controversially, Radiohead is a band that I have mixed feelings about. I just do. Now, I'm not surprised that it became research. Do you know about the Creep? Well, Tim doesn't know about this because it's on the internet and he's 1,000 years old. But there was a thing where the I'm a Creep. So, but for those who don't know, me and Tim did the version of Creep together. If you want to go listen to it on YouTube, but that's not where I'm going with this. There was a thing where people were sharing their. They were like, I'm a creep, I'm a weirdo, and then they were also doing the. What is that? That one band that was only available for a movie. Oh God, I can't think of it. It's kind of like Creep. It's another word for creep. They were anyway. People were showing their creep photos, or they were also showing their weirdo. There's another song. I can't think of it. Tim, it's gonna kill me. Charlie would be so mad at me right now. The guy has a very high pitched voice. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's gonna drive me insane.
Well, come back to that thought.
Anyway, so the point is that that was popular on the interwebs for like 5 minutes. So it's not surprising to me that this album got a lot of.
Yeah, and also it is considered a classic. I mean, I'm not a big Radiohead fan at all. I like a few of their songs. I probably own a copy of OK Computer on CD because I thrifted it probably for next to nothing. But it's nothing I ever return to.
I can't think of it. Weirdo TikTok songs. It's going to drive me insane, Tim. I'm going to yell it again in a minute, and it's going to be like Stevie Nicks all over again. But it's like your weirdo photos.
Well,
but they were doing this.
It will come to you in a second, no doubt.
No, it is, but it definitely was. Anyway, so it was basically like people were doing like I'm a creep, I'm a weirdo, whatever, and they were giving their photos from when they were younger. And there was a lot of people like me who were like, I can't get a hold of those. But teenage. Oh, it's something about being a teenage Tim.
Teenage Dirtbag by Wheatus?
Yes. That's what I was in. So it started out as a teenage dirtbag, but then some people were starting to do it like, I'm not a teenage dirtbag, I'm a creep, I'm a weirdo, right? And so it kind of merged into that, and it really got a research that's on the TikToks and on the interwebs and all that stuff. So it's not surprising to me. Wow, that was so hard for me. I'm like, weirdo, creep. I was trying to think of any other word to say that. Dirtbag is not a word I use regularly. And I'm like, Wheatus, this is the only song they ever had, and they did it for that movie. I don't even remember what it was, but some movie. Weirdly enough, Tim, this is one of the few songs in life. Wheatus Dirtbag, or Teenage Dirtbag, was one of the few songs in life I had never heard till I married my husband. He loves this song. I never heard it, didn't play on American radio, really didn't know much about it, didn't know it was from a movie. I'm always teaching Charlie music, but this is controversially one of the few songs he taught me.
Well, there you go. I knew it because I'd played it in bands. But in fact, I learned it for bands before I'd ever heard it anywhere else.
I mean, was it popular, like, in general, or was it just, like, some weird cult classic thing that happened? I don't know, because I don't remember ever hearing it.
It was incredibly popular in the UK, and they also did a cover of Erasure's Respect as well, which was almost equally as popular.
It's from that movie Loser. I know that. And then there's that. Do you remember? Did you ever hear that song, Scotty Doesn't Know? That was also another, though, and that was based off of a movie that was very similar to this one. It's like, Scotty doesn't know. And I think it's about a girlfriend cheating on him or something. Never heard that song till I married my husband either because he knows movies, Tim, and I don't know movies.
No,
Don't know movies. Couldn't tell you anything.
it's nothing that I know,
Eurotrip.
unfortunately.
Tim is from Eurotrip. Have you watched Eurotrip?
I've never even heard of Eurotrip.
Well, the funniest thing about Eurotrip is, and we can't get into this podcast, but I will tell you in the future. You know how commercials in Europe are much more open and can do more things than America. I've got to show you the commercial for Eurotrip. If you're listening and you know, then we'll move along. All right, what's next, Tim?
Okay, so we've had. So here, number 12, it would be the Arctic Monkeys and their album AM.
Huh. I mean, I know who the Arctic Monkeys are, but I don't understand why it's now. Once again, I don't know. I don't know.
For me, the Arctic Monkeys are a one-hit wonder band with I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor. I don't know anything else about them. I mean, that was fine as a novelty hit, but I have no knowledge of any other music they've made.
I know that they were popular for like 5 minutes and they had like 1 or 2 songs. And I think there was a gift from the UK. What's with all these people being from the UK? Why is nobody making vinyl in America anymore?
I don't know how that works.
Because that's Taylor Swift and Sabrina Carpenter. That's literally the extent of what I know too. Very interesting though, in all seriousness, that like, I mean, when was the last time they came out with a song, Tim? Early 2000s? Late 2000s? I don't know.
I think it was early 2000s because I was sharing a house in the early 2000s and that Arctic Monkeys song was out.
Good to know. I don't know. Like, I know who they are, but I don't know anything about them outside of that. Good band. Interesting that they would be making a resurgence. What is it? Do you have any idea of how much albums they're selling, or did they give you any numbers?
No, I don't have the actual amounts. It's probably a lot less than you think. Because even though people are going on about how great vinyl is and how's a vinyl resurgence, in actual fact, it's a very small amount of units.
Well, the other thing is, like, for me, like I said many different times, is that, like, I bought mine secondhand. Like, I'm not going out of my way to buy vinyl most of the time. I'm not. With the exception of, I did buy Dolly Parton because she's Dolly Parton.
Well, of course. I mean, I think you have to when it comes to Dolly.
You're actually legally obligated. If you walk past Dolly Parton's memorabilia, any of her stuff, you're like, gotta buy it. Remember, I bought her brownies. So for those who don't know, Dolly even has food now.
Yeah, she does. I've had the brownie mix and the cake mix.
Good. It was decent. I mean, it wasn't. It was just. It tasted like brownies. I don't know.
The only thing is we had to buy an egg, and we never have eggs in our house.
Interesting. Why do you never have eggs in your house?
Well, we don't use eggs.
I like to make a good breakfast sandwich occasionally, so I use an egg.
I would not know how to prepare an egg, even if I wanted to.
Okay, well, the stuff you know. Well, to be fair, Tim doesn't know how to cook, period. So I don't think this is about the egg. It's more of a greatest. By the way, one of the funniest stories in our life was me and Tim's like kind of is the first time I met him, he was talking about he can't cook and he needed help. And me being the feminist that I am was like, sounds like whipping ice and cupping in Tim's face. You figure out how to use a microwave. And Tim was like, who are you? It was so on brand. I think back about this, how intensely I went out Tim because he couldn't use a microwave the first time.
It's not weaponizing competence. I literally have no idea how to prepare food, and on the rare occasions I've done it, it's disgusting.
I mean, I understand this now, but my feminist came out a little intense the first time we met. Now I understand Tim just can't cook. It has nothing to do with. He just can't. To be fair though, I did see him get pretty good at using the microwave buttons a few times. Like I feel like that's the extent to what we got Tim out of the break room.
I occasionally will use the microwave. We bought a new oven, and it was probably year 2 before I pressed the button on it. And I've only ever used the ring things on the top once. What are those called? The ring round things.
The eyes. They're eyes, like your eye. It's like the eye of the oven. You just set it down and you put your pan on it.
Yeah, I've only ever used one of them once.
I feel like that's an American statement where we call it like the eye. Like, which eye do you use? I don't know why it's called an eye, by the way, Tim. I have no reference point to that. Because it doesn't really look like an eye. and probably very American. And in England, they probably call it bippity boppity boo or something. I don't know. Wait, I want to know. Hold on. I want to know for the people.
I think they call them burners, I think.
I've heard burners too. And this might be a southern term. It's a regional term used in the southern United States. I is a southern term for heating elements. What do they call them in England? What do they call
rings, maybe?
Let's see. Burner. A hob. I've heard hob. I've heard the hob ring.
Maybe.
Okay, the eye of the stove or the burner. I've heard Charlie. So my husband's from like the West Coast. He would say the burner. I said the eye of the stove, but apparently that's a Southern phrase. Stove eyes, I've versus the plug-in. Yeah.
I mean, call it what you like. The likelihood is I'll never use it again.
So it says, steaming from old wood stoves, these plates resemble eyes or lids. That's where it comes from. And a lot of people in the South, you have to understand, I live in Appalachia, right, Tim? And so it's funny, when I've gotten out of calling the shopping cart a buggy. I used to call it a buggy. Buggy is what we call them. And it's not like it's a horse and buggy, right, Tim? But that's what I grew up calling it. I still struggle with a washcloth. What do you think I call it, Tim?
It's a flannel.
It's a rag.
Ah.
It's a rag. If you're from the South, you call it a rag. And what it is what it was is the rags from whatever they used to clean in the South. You had your actual cleaner people. Sadly, we don't need to get into slavery and all that stuff. They were the rags from your clothes, Tim. They would rip them off, and that's what they would use to clean with, and it was a rag.
Okay.
That's where it comes from. So Charlie will say stuff, and occasionally the Southern in me will come out, and I'll say I call it a rack, I call it a buggy, and I call it the eye of the stove. And now I know why. Apparently that's only a Southern thing, but it was literally because they looked like eyes. Do you also know, this has nothing to do with music, do you know where voodoo dolls came from?
No.
So you know that there's Louisiana has this spiritual voodoo doll thing. Well, back in the day when you would go to see the medicine man, which was the doctor, a lot of people couldn't read or write, and so they would show you on the doll what was hurting them with the eye, and they would put a pin in it. And the pin in the eye, so when they came back after they gave the salve or whatever it was to fix it, was they would take the pin out if it fixed it. And that's how they learned. And that's actually where voodoo dolls came from.
Interesting.
Learn that. All right, this is not a voodoo doll podcast. Anyway, back to the music. Tim, what's next?
Okay, so coming at number 13 is Billie Eilish and the album Hit Me Hard and Soft.
Does that mean anything to you, Tim?
I know who that is. She's that person when she sings, she sounds like she's half asleep.
A lot of her music does sound like that. There's some better ones, and there's some some of the other ones she got better. Now, what's hard for me is Charlie really liked this one song that was from the Barbie movie. That was a Billie Eilish song, and I can't think of it off the top of my head. Oh, what was I made for? I have no idea if it was on this album, Tim. I'm not a huge Billie Eilish fan, but I got so burnt out of that song because of that I just don't actively seek her out. I think she's decent. Now, what's interesting about her is her music. Her and her brother were they write most of the music, and then he is kind of, I think, a little bit of the music writing brains, her Bernie to her Elton or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And so he writes a lot of it. His name is Phineas, which I find interesting. Billy and Phineas. I don't know why I find that interesting. And she does have this very airy kind of sound to her that I think it sells well on an album, because I've talked about before, but I know what Tim's saying. She sounds like she's asleep, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about, and if you look at this historically, and this is just not me making this up, there's science behind it. People like stuff that's easy on the ears, and that will sell. And I think that she has done that very well.
Okay. I mean, people like her. I mean, if
Am
you
I
like
wrong,
it,
though? Does that make sense, though, Tim? The way I explain it?
yeah. I mean,
if
you like her, it's fine, but I would never seek out Billie Eilish. It's nothing that would ever interest me.
I think she's fine, but I'm not looking her up. But Charlie really loved that "What Was I Made For" song, to the point that I got so burnt out of it that I banned it from listening to our house anymore. Because he does a thing. Have you ever known someone who like likes something and they just have to do it every day on repeat and like banish it into the ground?
Yeah, I sometimes get that like that about Islands in the Stream, though that hasn't hit me for a while.
Mine was back in the day. The one that got me was oh God, Eagles, not the Eagles. Eagles. Why can't I think of that song? It's the one about Saturday night. Everybody's in a bad mood. We're all fighting. Tim. Why can't I think of that song? Oh God, Eagles. What a way to describe it. Saturday night, everyone's mad at each other. That's literally the song. Oh God. I need to put song in there because it thinks I'm talking about
You need a special version of Shazam just for you.
it's Heartbreak tonight.
Ah, Heartbreak
It's gonna
Tonight.
be a heartbreak tonight.
Yeah.
I can't believe a Saturday night everybody's mad at each other. That's gonna go down in no babies. Tim, we just played the weirdest worst version of Guess the Song where I couldn't say any of the part of the song and tried to get you to guess it. But at one point, the heartache tonight, I don't know why, for like when I was probably from like 16 to 18 years old, I went through a span where I listened to that song on repeat to the point that my mother was like, don't listen to it again. The other one that I got banished from playing because I used to work at a call center and they would occasionally let us play music. They stopped letting me play Don't Stop Me Now from Queen. And then it was the next one of my life is probably Hammer to Fall. I have to listen to Hammer to Fall like once a week.
There we go. Okay. Well, I
Right,
tell you what
anyway,
we're
so
going
that's
to
my
do.
version.
We're almost out of time, so I'm just going to read out the remaining ones in the top 20.
All
So we
right.
had Billie Eilish at number 13. 14 was Pulp and the album More.
Really?
Number 15 was Lady Gaga and her album Mayhem. Number 16, Chapel Roan and the Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess. I do think Chapel Roan sounds like a publishing company.
Kind of does.
Number 17 is Radiohead again with In Rainbows. Number 18 is Wolf Alice. I have no idea who that is. And the album
Never heard this word
The
before.
Clearing. Number 19, another classic album, Jeff Buckley with Grace. And then coming at number 20, Pink Floyd and the classic album Wish You Were Here.
So interesting that so many people are into Radiohead nowadays. All right, well, that's a very interesting lineup, Tim. I don't know what I thought, but that wasn't what I thought.
Well, there you go. Just trying to think of some different topics as we're now in episode 260 something or something like that.
I don't know. I literally have to Google sometimes, has the No Name Music Cast done this episode before I do my own episode because there's so many. All right, well, what would you like to leave the people with?
Just be kind to everyone that you meet.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.